Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Off the Shelf. Yes, it's very impressive. We made it to 3 episodes. As you can tell from that, we're talking about Flying Witch today. This manga, it's gotta be like one of my most. The best way to describe it is a mood, I guess. It's so very like wholesome and just nice in general. It's good. It's fun. It's nice. Um, this upload is a day late, but it's not $1 short because I have $1. Great joke, I know. Off to a roaring start. Now, um, Flying Witch is written by Chihiro Ishizuka and drawn by them as well. There's my volume. And there's a better resolution of the cover. Let's get right into it then. Here the manga starts off with Makoto, the main character, arriving in the town that the story takes place in, and okay, sorry, I lagged a bit there. The art style, although it's very simplistic, at least for the characters, the backgrounds tend to be decently detailed. The characters are like really appealing. I the sort of simple lines, dark colors. It's it's very. It's nice. It's. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. But Makoto greets her cousin Kei, and she brings her cat Chito. And here we get our first character trait of Makoto, where she gets lost really easily, and it comes up later a lot. And they she goes the wrong way at first, and here we get some more really good like background and like building art. Look at that dang old building. It's big, and it's oh, they draw just such good like backgrounds and like just all this detail that's in it. It's really appealing and nice. Here for meet our third main character, Chinatsu, who is Kei's younger sister, and she initially thinks that Makoto is Kei's girlfriend, but and Kei says she's her real mother. And we get a nice expression here, and some good reactions. It's I this manga's so fun in like a get out of here in like a wholesome. I use that word a lot, but it's the best way to describe it. It's super just nice and wholesome, and it's just a feel good kind of manga. And Kei explains that Makoto is going to be living there. She's something like their second cousin, and we get more incredibly detailed backgrounds. We see the family shrine, and this is all of Makoto's stuff that she's moving in with. what? Shade? Okay, this translation is different from the book I have. It's translating the cat's name as Shade, but in the book I have, it's translated as Cheeto. I'm gonna use the book translation just because that's the one I know. I guess it doesn't really matter either way. The cat's not a super important character. But you know, they're making food. We get a nice, another good Makoto face. There's lots of those in this manga. I should mention this is also an anime. I think there's only one season of it out. I don't think there was any plans to make more. But it's well worth watching. It was very well made. Faithful adaptation. But I don't think that would be very hard with this series. We get a nice little thing of them talking and eating. Makoto needs to go do some shopping, and Chinatsu goes with. Chinatsu asks for donuts, and Kei also wants donuts, which is good. It's a nice little thing. We have more amazing backgrounds, some more of just these simply but like really appealingly drawn characters. We see that Makoto is a city girl. Look at this! Just this donut shop is amazing. Chinatsu eating a nice little donut, and here's where we get our first little taste of why the manga is called Flying Witch. As Makoto proceeds to fly, she just goes like, she just pops up there. Get a nice reaction from Chinatsu. And oh, and our fourth character, now Nao, and she's talking about Kei explains that Makoto is wacky, off the wall. He says here, and then we see Makoto and Chinatsu flying over. And the interesting thing about how this world works in this series is that witches, although they're not common, but they don't seem to super like need to like hide that they're witchy. Like the regular person won't know about witches just from like folklore and legends and stuff. I think they do mention later that Makoto just doesn't much care for hiding her witchiness. She introduces herself to Nao, and Nao's like, so what's going on here? It's crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and just go through chapter 2 a little bit here as well. No, no, I'm not. Because chapter 2 is when it really picks up. It starts getting a bit more witchy. But, she talks about how brooms dig into your crotch when you ride them. But, Makoto attends school. And this manga is such a nice... It's... There's a nice one for you. This manga is such a nice like mix of sort of the best way to describe it is fantasy, like slice of fantasy instead of like fantasy or slice of life. And I think it's just this is the kind of book where you sit in like a little book nook window and like have a nice little cup of tea or some hot chocolate or something with like the fire going, and it's like it's like 70 degrees out. You got the windows open, nice little breeze is going through, and your house smells like pine cones and flowers. That's like the best way to describe the feel of this book, the mood of it, the sheer just country wholesomeness of this manga. And I'm like disappointed that season 2 of the anime, I don't believe they have any plans for it coming out. But, I have the manga at least. And there's some great characters that come in later. Like Makoto. No spoilers. No spoilers this time there. I think that's all I can really say about it here, is without saying the word wholesome anymore. You'll find I say that word a lot when referring to my collection, as I tend to enjoy those kinds that are really nice to read, that are just like, you read them and you're just put the book down and you're just like, that was a great book. That was a fun good time. That was great. That was so nice, and it was good. I promise it gets a little bit more fantasy, but without taking away the slice of life thing aspect of it. There's this good little quote on the back of the volume 1 where it says that Flying Witch emphasizes that while actual magic is nice, there's ultimately magic in everything. And I think that sums it up pretty dang well, saying that, this is such a nice little slice of life, fun time romp in the countryside, but and even though there's like real magic with like, goblins and not goblins, but creatures and flying witches, that like there's whole chapters where there's like barely magic, and they just talk about eating Brussels sprouts or something, and even those chapters are just a good time to read. Like, this is the kind of book that I would recommend to my mom. She, even though she doesn't really like, um, like cartoony stuff, I still think like, like your mom or like your parents or anything could still like derive some enjoyment from this, as it's just a good dang old time. And I think that I recommend it. That's really what it comes down to, honestly. Like, I, I should hope I'd be able to recommend every book on my shelf. I don't actually think there's any that I wouldn't recommend. There might be a couple that I just don't like, but I don't think that's the case. Which I guess doesn't make this so much a review show as it does just a recommendation show. Just books that, or hopefully like series that you can really just get like stuck into and just enjoy. A lot of these books have animes as well, but a lot of them are just the series. And I guess that's really the goal of this series, is to point out these series that are not so much well known, and I hope just to point these out to people and hopefully give them some good vibes, give them some nice books to read, give them a nice little sit down, support the physical book Um, economy. I won't always do manga. I have other books on my other shelves. Um, I you can't see. I do have another bookshelf that I use as like sort of chapter bookshelf, and I'd love to do some of those books like I don't know, like the I have chapter books on like the Redwall series. Like maybe I'll go over those. That's one of my favorite old series. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble, so I think I'll end it here. I think this is another good episode. Sorry I didn't make it on yesterday, because I decided to stay up all night and then go to bed at 4 a.m. and think that I was like, I can wake up at 11 and do this. Turns out not. But this time, when I stayed up all night, I was able to stay up until a reasonable time and do this at 8:30. So there's a little behind the scenes. I don't go to sleep a lot. Anyway, that's thank you for joining me. I'm James O'Fallon once again, and this has been Off the Shelf, episode 3 with Flying Witch by Chihiro Ishizuka. Check it out at your local book retailer. I get most of mine from Barnes & Noble. Thank you. I hopefully, I helped bring a little bit of good vibes into someone's life. That's I'll just stop here. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.